everybody. Welcome to the Boricuabc2 show. I am your host, Bill Cancel. Happy Sunday, everybody. I hope everybody's up, getting their coffee, their breakfast, and starting their day. Welcome to the Deep Dive Show. This is the show where we take a couple of stories from the Republicans and the Democrats and do a deep dive on these stories, just again to keep everybody informed as to what's happening. It is very difficult with everything that's going on right now and the inundation of news to stay current on what's going on. So please feel free to come to the show every day just to find out what's happening. It's really important that we stay on top of what's going on. So let's get started. We're going to start with the Democrats this morning. So the Democratic Party highlights Andrew Cuomo denied public funds over super PAC coordination. Former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, now leading mayoral candidate, was denied $600,000 in public campaign funds after the New York City Campaign Finance Board found illegal coordination between his campaign and support of PAC. So that's an interesting story we need to watch for. This one, I don't know how to really think about this. I am on the fence with the Democrats at this point in time. Internal Democrat tension, Senator and Hogg face backlash. So Sri Senator was the person who, the congressman who put in the articles of impeachment last week and was quickly criticized and squashed by Nancy Pelosi and Jimmy Raskin to put that down. This kind of bothers me a little bit because I understand the game that Nancy and Jamie are trying to play. I think they come from the school of just let him continue to shoot himself in his foot. I think we're done with that. I think he has shot himself in the foot so many times that we're getting rapidly to a point that it's not going to be reparable. So when is when, right? When do we draw the line and start fighting back? So, to me, articles of impeachment, even knowing that they're probably not going to go anywhere, should be drafted every day and submitted every day, because it just continues to heighten the awareness of the American people that this man is such a corrupt, president. So I'm not quite sure where this is going. Similarly, with David Hogg was removed from his vice chair position after announcing plans to raise funds to challenge ineffective incumbents and criticize the party appeals to young men. Right now the Democratic Party is at a crossroads. One can argue that they're a very, very good party and they've done a lot for the nation, which they have. But the most critical election that just came, something happened. I'm still not sure what happened as to how we lost this election. Whether it's bad messaging or bad optics or whatever the case may be. I'm still not quite sure what it was. But there's a time for a revamp, right? And now is that time. You can't wait till September 2026 to say, oh shit, now we should do something, because then it's too late. You literally have to start doing this now. And I get it, we don't really want to piss off the old guard and come across as being radical leftist like we are anyway. But to me, there has to be a merge between or a mentorship between the old guard and the new regime that's coming in, right? That has to come in to fight for the next couple of decades, right? And I'm not seeing that happening. That bothers me. David, was very outspoken. I thought we needed that. So this one really has me on the fence, and I need to seriously think about what's happening at this point in time with that. Representative Adriano Espaillat accused of election interference. Representative Adriano Espaillat is under scrutiny by the Manhattan Democratic Party for alleged election interference during 2003 party election. So that's news. Department of Justice resignation over Eric Adams' corruption case. Seven federal prosecutors resigned after being ordered to drop corruption charges against New York City Mayor Eric Adams. Good for them. This one is just absolutely just pissing me off beyond belief. Biden tells him campaign decisions under scrutiny. A new book reveals that President Joe Biden's aides concealed his cognitive decline during his 2024 re-election campaign. Why are we talking about this today? It brings nothing to the table. It brings nothing to the formula. Our country is failing miserably on a daily basis because we have a tyrant in the White House. But hey, let's bring up Joe Biden's cognitive design, because that's going to solve our problems, right? Don't buy the bullshit, people. When you see this, just scroll past it because this is the biggest waste of time I've ever seen in my life. Don't even bother with it. Now, from a Republican perspective, former Tennessee House Speaker convicted in fraud scheme. Fraud, Republicans? Anybody? Glenn Quesada, former Tennessee House Speaker, and his aide were convicted on multiple charges related to a fraudulent mailer scheme targeting state lawmakers. The operation involved using a fictitious identity to secure public funds, leading to the conviction for the theft, bribery, wire fraud, and money laundering. Republican. This one made me smile. Governor Ron DeSantis faces investigation over misused funds. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is under investigation after $10 million in state funds were allegedly diverted to a nonprofit founded by his wife, Casey, the one who's running for governor. The funds, part of a settlement with a Medicaid provider, which intended for state use but were directed to the nonprofit, raising concerns about misuse and potential criminal activity. It is so past time that Ron DeSantis got his up and coming. So past time. He is Trump Jr. He's just allowed to do whatever the hell he wants to do, break the laws no matter how he wants to, and that shit needs to stop real quick. Virginia GOP turmoil, extortion allegations surface. John Reed, the Republican nominee for Virginia Lieutenant Governor, accuses Governor Glenn Youngkin of Governor Glenn Youngkin's PAC of attempting to extort him into exiting the race. Gee, where have we seen that before? The allegations have intensified internal GOP conflicts with calls for investigations into the PAC's tactics and the party's leadership dynamics. This one I'd love to see happen, but I don't know if it's really going to happen. But Republicans seek investigation into Signal leak scandal. Top Republican senators are calling for an investigation into Signal messaging app leak, where sensitive discussions about military actions were inadvertently shared with the journalists. The incident has raised concerns about national security and the handling of classified information within the Trump administration. Sorry. It would be nice. It'd be nice that it came from the Republicans because then they can't blame the Democrats for witch hunts. So let's see where this goes. So yeah, that's the deep dive for today, folks. I hope you enjoyed that. Again, it's very important that we keep up as hard as we can. We are inundated with bad news every day. And it is difficult to keep up with it all. But just keep in the back of your head that that's part of the plan. Part of the plan of the Trump administration is to inundate us with news every day so that we don't know what to believe anymore. We don't know what's real anymore. We don't know what to be angry at or sad at anymore. This is part of the plan. But, if you're a blue sky person like I am, or you somewhat close to social media like I am, you'll see a lot of us are talking about these things and we're keeping each other sane, which is very important. We're fact checking. We're coming out and saying, no, that's not true. This is true. That's not true. This is not real. Here's what's really happening, and so on and so forth. So we're keeping up with the bullshit, which is really good. And I tell you another reason why it's really good, because Trump hates that. He would hope that we are, he's up here with his bullshit and we're down here with catching up. That's what he wants, right? But instead, we're like this. And he hates that because every time we catch up to him, he realizes he's in trouble because his bullshit's just not working anymore. So, again, just take it with a grain of salt. When you start reading and seeing these things all the day, do your fact checking, do your research, and see, is this really something I should be concerned about? I have a personal philosophy now on social media that I try not to react to breaking things and big things for at least 12 to 14 hours, or I immediately fact check. Because I've been caught many times myself, retweeting, reposting something, only to find out a half an hour later that it was false. So I got everybody in a worry in a bunch, and there was no reason to do that. So it's important that you, especially now, with everything that's happening and the speed that it's coming with, just to stay level playing field and stay focused. So as far as shows are concerned, folks, we have a great show this afternoon, speaking of Democrats, entitled What Should the Democrats Do? So we've come up with a list of things that we think, my guests think that the Democrats should be doing, and we're going to share them with everybody this afternoon. We'd love to get your comments on that. We'll be joined today by Nancy Goat and Jarvis from Blue Sky. It's going to be a great show, and I'm looking forward to that. That'll be airing this afternoon. That'll be being recorded this afternoon, but it probably won't air until tomorrow morning, sometime right after the morning report. Everybody have a great Sunday. enjoy the day. I don't know where you're at, but it's supposed to be beautiful outside here in Long Island, New York. So try to get outside and enjoy a little bit. Have a great day. We'll see you later on this afternoon. Bye bye.